What's up, everybody, and welcome to another video on the Reviews by Russ YouTube channel. This video we're going to be going over last night's big time wrestling event, which started out with Scotty 2 Hotty versus somebody. I was having trouble getting the thing to airplay to the television, so I missed a lot of that. Scotty 2 Hotty did win. Then we jumped to Brock Anderson with Arn Anderson at his side versus Lodi. This match was a decent match, fairly competitive. It's good to see Brock getting some in-ring work in front of people, not necessarily on national television, as he is still a little green, so we do want to see him continue to grow as a wrestler. And he's always got his dad there with him to help him get over with the fans. They really went overboard with that. Lots of hugging and all that after the match. Then I got a big surprise, wasn't on the card. Big Papa Pump had a match against a guy, I think his name was Crazy Joe. I'm not familiar with him. But yeah, this was a good match. Started off, Steiner was, I guess, a babyface in this promotion. So the Crazy Joe, he did some low blows and some other unsavory moves, but of course Big Papa Pump was able to power through, and he took it to this guy. We got a few of his classic suplexes, and of course we ended up with the Steiner recliner. We definitely got a quick tap out, and it was just really cool for me to see Steiner, as I was not expecting him to have a match. I didn't even know he was going to be at this show, so that was a nice little treat for me to see Big Papa Pump. Any of you guys that know me know that Steiner was one of my favorites from back in the day. I personally just think he's one of the greatest heel wrestlers of all time, which is also strange that they run him as a babyface in some of these indie promotions, but I guess it's just because he's such a big star. But yeah, so we got Steiner, and he got the win with the recliner, and I really enjoyed that. Moving on, the next thing was Matt Hardy. We got the woken Matt Hardy, broken Matt Hardy, whatever you want to call him. He was doing the delete, and of course the crowd was going wild for a small show. I think they said they had around 1,000 people in attendance. This crowd was really into the show, the entire show. They were doing all the chants and really cheering, and just it was. I would have loved to have been there. Unfortunately, I was snowed in here in North Carolina. Couldn't get down to South Carolina to make the show, but I did pay for it on the live Facebook watch streaming option that they offered, and it was definitely worth the $10. But this is a guy, Danny Miles versus Matt Hardy. I'm not very familiar with Danny Miles. I guess he's an indie guy, but yeah, they had a very back and forth match. This match went on quite a while, quite competitive. Every time that Matt would call for the twist of fate, which he did several times, the opponent would reverse it. So it just went back and forth, a lot of false finishes, and you really thought, oh man, this guy might pull this out. But back and forth. I'm a big Matt Hardy fan. I love the Hardys in general. I really enjoyed the broken Matt Hardy character. I wish he would get back more to that, but we'll see as things go forward what he's going to do on the indie scene versus what he's doing in AEW. But after the match, it was good. We finally got the finish. Like I said, every time Matt went for one of his signature moves, this guy would somehow reverse it. It was very, very back and forth affair, but the crowd was really into it. They were doing the delete chants, and just everybody seemed to really be having a good time here. As you can see, there's a decent sized crowd for this building. As I said earlier, I think they were saying around 1,000 people. As you can see, Matt finally did hit the twist of fate and got the victory. This made the place go wild. He is a North Carolina boy, so he's very popular down here in the southern states. Next, we moved on to George South versus Jerry the King Lawler. This was a crown versus jacket match. South explains that this jacket was given to him by Ricky Steamboat like 20 years ago, and why it's so important to him. Then he just went on for, it seemed like forever. I'm going to guess maybe around 10 minutes. He just ridiculed the crowd with all the basic heel stuff, white trash, welfare, all that good stuff. Finally, the King's music hit, which if you did buy this event, like I did on Facebook Live, it was a little difficult to watch. As I said, you could not get it to work on your Apple TV. It just would not. It would only, you would put it on there and it would only do the audio. So it was like the sound was coming out of your television, but the video was still on your phone. So that was a little irritating. But also every time there was entrance music, they would mute the entire sound. So you not only lost the music, but you could no longer hear the announcers, which were very low for the first several matches, and they finally worked that bug out. This was a old school wrestling match. These guys, I'm not knocking them. I love that they're still doing this, but they are up in age, so you're not getting a lot of exciting spots. This is a very slow moving match, a lot of arm bars and such, but that's what you expect for the King versus George the South. This match went back and forth for quite a while. King finally did get the pin. He used his feet on the ropes, but George had been assaulting the referee and belittling her the entire time, so she did a 2 count, looked at his feet on the ropes, and then hit the 3 count and kind of smiled. George attacked the King after the match, as you can see here, and stole back the jacket. So I'm not really sure how that works in wrestling, whenever you have a match for something and then you don't come through with it. Then they made the big announcement that the Hardy Boys reunite for the first time in 3 years, and they're starting a little tour with big time on that. Here we have a few of the dates, with it saying more dates will be announced. They do have to still reschedule the Friday night show that was supposed to be in Salisbury. That's the one I had tickets to, but I'll let you guys know when they reschedule that. And finally, we moved into what everybody was excited for, which, as you can see, FTR hit the ring. This was the big main event match, FTR versus the Rock and Roll Express. First time, only time is what they were saying. We've got one of the greatest tag teams in the history of wrestling versus the best tag team currently in all professional wrestling. And that's right, whether you agree with me or not, that's FTR. They definitely are the best by leaps and bounds. I can't even think of another tag team that comes close to their, just the way they work such a smooth match. It's just, and they're tag team specialists. We got all the heel acting that we expected from FTR, from pretending that they were going to high-five the fans to just really ridiculing and running their mouth to the fans and the Rock and Roll. This match was another match. It was kind of a little slow, but I mean, the Rock and Roll Express are on up there in age. I believe they're both in their 60s, and they are saying that this is the beginning of their farewell tour. So it wasn't the most high-speed match, which, with FTR, we're used to more. They are more of an old-school wrestling style of team, which I really enjoy watching. They're not into the flips and flops and all that mess. They're wrestlers, and they enjoy telling a story through a wrestling match, which they're masters of. As you can see there, they're doing all the heel stuff, cheating, getting the extra leverage where the referee can't see. This went on for a little while. This referee was completely oblivious to what was going on, which was awesome. The crowd was really letting them have it. Rock and Roll Express, of course, they get their big comeback. They really, to be their age, they're still moving around pretty good. I'm not going to lie. The crowd was totally behind them, but at the end, there was a quick roll-up, you can see here, but Dax was able to pull his partner's foot and reverse it, and FTR did get the quick win on a roll-up. Me, I'm not a big fan of the roll-up, especially nowadays. It seems like that's just the easy way for them to do these finishes. I miss finishing moves. I'm a finishing move kind of guy. I want to see that devastating finisher. But after the match, there was a lot of respect given to the Rock and Roll Express. FTR cut a promo telling them how great they were and how much they meant to them. It was good. As a fan, it's what you wanted to see. I really do wish I could have been at this event instead of watching on television, because as you can see in this next picture, they even bowed down and did the "I'm not worthy" to the Rock and Roll Express, which for FTR's pretty amazing, but you could tell these guys really enjoyed this, as did I. I hope you guys got to check this out. If not, there are some clips floating around on YouTube. Hopefully you guys can check some of that out. It's definitely worth watching if you can find it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that like button, and let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll see you next time.